saw in episode 1 that your brain has billions of neurons, but that some of them get developed into big fat pathways that conduct electricity so efficiently that we tend to rely on them a lot. These pathways tell us how to survive by going toward things that made you feel good in the past and avoid things that made you feel bad in the past. You can see how we all end up with some quirky pathways as a result. It would be great if you could turn on your happy chemicals in new ways by building new pathways. Why is it so hard? So how do we build some of our neurons into big fat neural pathways? There are a few answers. The first one, as you could imagine, has to do with your happy chemicals and your unhappy chemical. Anything that triggered them tells your brain this is important. So you can imagine something that gave you the great feeling of reaching a goal, the great feeling of trusting your mates, the great feeling of being on top of things, and confidence and pride. And that's sort of like paving on your neural pathways. Another thing that built them up is a substance called myelin that a young brain produces a lot of. Myelin coats a neuron the way plastic coats a copper wire and makes it very efficient so that electricity flows down it very fast. The final thing that builds up a neural pathway is repetition. Anything you did over and over and over built up a neural pathway. Now, sometimes we end up with quirky neural pathways because our happy chemicals are triggered for curious reasons when we're young. If you steal a cookie from your brother, it might feel good, and your brain might build a pathway that says, that's a good way to feel good. But you know that if you keep doing that, you're going to be in trouble, and that feels bad. So then you have another circuit for feeling bad. So you're always trying to figure out what's the best behavior using the circuits you have. It's pretty hard to think, how can I build a circuit to feel good about eating carrots and exercising? Now, eating carrots doesn't necessarily trigger the same happy chemicals as eating the cookie. So how can you do it? If you're not young, you're not going to get a lot of myelin, so the only answer we have left is repetition. If you eat carrots every day, then you're going to build up those neural pathways so that you're going to start feeling like eating carrots is normal because electricity is going to flow easily down that pathway. But you have to repeat that carrot eating a lot. And who wants to repeat something that doesn't feel good? Here's what makes it so hard to build a new pathway in your brain. Imagine that your brain is a jungle of neurons. If you were walking through the jungle and you were carving a new path that no one had ever passed before, you would be working so hard to carve every step. And it's like that in your jungle of neurons. Each time you try to activate a neuron that hasn't been developed before, you have to focus all of your attention in order to get electricity to move along that neuron with enough energy to jump across the synapse and trigger the next neuron. And imagine when you're walking through the rainforest and you put all that energy into slashing a new trail. What happens? In a few hours, the brush in the forest grows back together, and the next day, it's just as hard to slash that new trail. It's so hard that you would rather just take the superhighway through the Amazon, even though it leads where you don't want to go. But if you slash through the same trail in the Amazon every single day, finally the trail establishes itself. And then it's easier to pass. The reason is that as the electricity travels along those new neurons, it learns how to jump across more efficiently to the next neuron. And after a while, your new neural pathway becomes so efficient that you can trigger it without all that effort of slashing a new trail. Now, it's not so easy because your old superhighway will always be there tempting you to take the easy road. But your new pathway will get big enough and more efficient after about 45 days if you keep repeating the new behavior every day, so that it will feel comfortable and normal because electricity will flow. And the flow of electricity is what gives us the feeling that we know what's going on and we're going to survive. You may be thinking, nothing's going to make a carrot taste as good as an ice cream, no matter how many times I have it. Well, that's why we're always looking for strategic ways to motivate our inner mammal. Nothing motivates the mammal brain as much as reproductive opportunity. So now you can see why so many people are eating carrots. When I say reproductive opportunity, natural selection has built a brain that cares a lot about the survival of its genes. That's why, if you have kids, you care even more about your kids eating carrots. And if you don't have kids, you care about other people's kids. We mammals are always looking for ways to keep our genes alive. So, if you're trying to build a new neural pathway, it helps to add just a little drop of happy chemical. Not by eating a pizza, not by eating a whole pizza or just a slice, but finding some way that you can connect that new pathway you're trying to build to something that's made you happy before, or something that makes your inner mammal happy. Life is frustrating because happy chemical spurts are short. They're quickly metabolized, and you have to do more to get more. Life is frustrating because cortisol gets your attention when your happy chemicals dip. Your brain is designed to scan for threats, and it finds them because the survival of your genes is threatened as long as you're alive. Life is frustrating because electricity flows into your old neural superhighways, and you have to focus intensely to steer it into your new neural trails. When your life is frustrating, it helps to know that monkeys had the same basic frustrations 50 million years ago. They had to scan constantly for opportunities to meet their survival needs. They struggled to avoid predators. And they had social allies who were focused on their own needs. But you have something special that monkeys don't have, a huge stock of extra neurons. You can build new neural pathways with them. It's not easy, but you have the power to repeat a new behavior until your electricity flows in a new direction. For example, you could wire yourself to see the good in the world. It's easy to see the bad because your early cortisol built huge neural pathways. The good all around you gets ignored unless you give that information a place to flow. You can do that by spending 3 minutes a day focusing on the good. I suggest 1 minute 3 times a day, but you can structure it however feels right to you. Keep it up for 45 days, even if it seems fake or foolish. If you miss a day, start over with day 1 until you get 45 days straight. That's what it takes to get a new trail established. Trailblazing takes a lot of energy. So for 45 days, be sure to make your energy available instead of spreading it elsewhere. You'll be so happy with your new circuit that you'll want to create another and another. The Inner Mammal Institute can help. We have books, blogs, discussion groups, and many other resources to help you rewire yourself to enjoy more happy chemicals. I was thrilled when I learned to accept and appreciate my inner mammal, and I think you'll like it too.